Right. Welcome everybody to Changing of the Hip Hop Guards podcast. I am your host, the journalist Sincere. It's my partner, Uncle E, and tonight we have the pleasure of speaking with the legendary Kool Fash, aka Tariq from the Beatnuts. Thank you so much for joining us this evening.
Yo, thank you, man. Thank y'all brothers for having me, man. For real, for real.
Thanks.
No
It's a
doubt.
pleasure, man. Our pleasure.
Looks like you got a lot of great things coming up in 2022, but before we jump into that, let's take it back. For those who may have forgotten, may have never known, take us back to, where Kool Fash was born and raised.
Now I'm a hop around. My story goes all over. I was born in Ohio, in Cleveland, right? First years of my life, was spent in North Carolina, and Mapleton, North Carolina, Hertford County, Murfreesboro. You know what I mean? I was always down there with my grams, my mom's side of the family. Just an awesome thing. It's like everything that was, that made me a man was instilled in me in that town and with my family. It's just a city of my family. So from there, it's New York. You know what I'm saying? So that's where I made my bones at, the city, the Bronx, Queens, and then in Westchester, man.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Give us a timeline of when you touched down in New York.
I was young, man. So when I came to live with my mom and my dad, my grandmother had me for a while. I was probably 4, something like that. You know what I'm saying? And we lived in the Bronx, Morris Avenue, like in the 160s or something, down from the concourse. And then I moved to like right off of Tremont to Monroe Avenue. So I was in the Bronx until I was about 79. Then I moved to Queens. And that's when, mom and dad separated and all that. We moved to Queens. My mother moved us out to Queens. We was in Flushing first. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to everybody from Colden. You know what I'm saying? Everybody on Casino and all that. You know what I'm saying? Pominock. We got people out there too. And then I moved to Elmhurst, man. And I was like running around Elmhurst, Corona, you know what I'm saying? Astoria, all that over there. You know what I'm saying? All in Left Rack, man. Yeah, crazy. Now, in that time, you're talking about my high school years, late 80s and all that. I had already met, well, I don't even know. Y'all let me know if I go too far. I'll go for a tangent, man. So let me let y'all keep me on a timeline.
Right. So yeah, before we get a little too deep into that, tell us a little bit about when or what was it that caught your attention when it came to hip hop?
Oh, I love this, man. Spoolie G, man. I see 1 for the troubles, 2 times. Come on, y'all. Let's rock that. Yes. That was it, bro. I heard that, and it was just his voice, his whole, we wouldn't have said swag then, but his swag was like everything. It just made me want to be an MC, man. I wanted to tell stories. I wanted to do, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, definitely Spoolie G, man. Definitely. That was like the birth in me, with wanting to rhyme. And, I was in the Bronx, you know what I'm saying, in the 70s when all that stuff's going on, my older cousins. Then I'm going out to Wine Dance, Long Island around that time, Rakim and all them and all that. Yeah, it was crazy, man. Crazy. But Spoolie G what was the spark, bro.
Okay. Now, do you remember at what point did you actually start to write, try to write rhymes or recite rhymes? At what point did that come?
I was probably 12 when I started feeling like, I'm not singing anybody else's rhymes. I see other people, rhyming and all that. I'm going to start rhyming. I was probably that age, definitely around 11, 12 years old, and was really hard at it by the time I was 13 when I started. I went to this called Christopher Robbins Academy, and just happened to be in the same school. Well, the same year, myself, LL, the original cut creator, all started, at that school in like 83. You know what I mean? So then it was real serious then. You know what I'm saying? I was around Jay. It was other MCs that, might not have gotten as known, but, that was really, and I met Dr. Butcher that year too, through cut creator. You know what I'm saying? Phil, you know what I'm saying? I met Butcher, and then it was really on because Butcher became my mentor. Me and him was inseparable. I was always at his crib. He was, you know, DJing, emceeing, knew everything. You know, he was so cerebral with the shit. It was just, it was nuts, man. It was. I don't know if y'all familiar with Butcher.
Dr. Butcher, yeah. You talking about X-Men and all of that, right?
Exactly. He's the mentor to them dudes. You know what I'm saying? Drew, yeah, Butcher. That's like my family. You know what I'm saying? I really call him Drew. I talk to him all the time. He's like executive producing the project I'm doing right now. So, you know what along with a lot of love from the mighty VIC too, doing this project, man. But yeah.
Well, you talking about Vic?
Yeah, Vic, exactly. That, I mean, Vic is what really he and I started, you know, me really back doing this. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, get the system in your crib. Vic is like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's my dude, man. Like, aside from music shit, any of that shit, you know what I'm saying? I'm talking about my family, his wife, my wife, his kids. You know what I'm saying? It's my dude. And it's crazy because it's like, Vic was the dude brought in to replace me when I was in jail back when we was doing Intoxicated Demons, the EP, which was really a solo album, but I had to go away and go to jail and it turned into something else. And I'm tighter with him. Like, that's my fucking dude, you know what I'm saying? And I talk to Les, you know what I'm saying? We do business, but, you know, we haven't been, you know, we've been basically estranged for like, you know, the last 22 years since the last tour I did with them.
Okay. Now, one last thing, and then Sincere, you take it over. But at what point did you realize that, yo, I'm nice at this emceeing thing?
I went down south, man. I went down south. I had to go to live in North Carolina when I was like 14. I had to go stay for 2 years. I got into some dumb shit and some trouble in Queens. And had to leave the state, you know what I'm saying? So it's either that or you know, go to Spofford or some type of boys home and all that. So since my family was in, you know, law enforcement and all of that stuff in North Carolina, they let me go down there. When I went down there, I got with two dudes. One was my cousin Ant and my man Forrest, and I started rhyming with them. And my man Ant would do the beatbox. And me and Forrest would rhyme and shit, and I gained my confidence because my man Forrest used to lived in New York, you know, for a while. So he had that swag. We both had that New York swag and all of that. And that's when I really got serious with it. Like 14, it was like, oh shit, doing little shows and talent shows. It's like, yo, I could do this. I could make people, you know, feel a certain type of way and all that. Yeah, that's when it was like really a song. Then when I came back to New York and I was with Butcher and with him, you know, teaching me, because Butcher, you know, he's rhyming with LL and G-Rap and all these dudes, man. He was crazy. Y'all don't even know him for that. But before the cutting, the verbals was silly. You know what I'm saying? Like fucking with both of them dudes. You know, they both respect him like that. You know what I'm saying? So once I was with him, like 16, it was over. That was it. It was like, yeah, that's it. I'm rhyming. I'm in groups. I'm going for this shit for real.
Gotcha.
So earlier on, were you... What'd you say?
I said, I hope I answered that.
Oh yeah. Earlier on, were you doing the solo thing or were you doing the group thing?
I mean, the first thing you know, I was rhyming me dolo. I wasn't thinking about no group. Like I said, it was Spoolie G for me at first. You know what I'm saying? So I wanted to do that and like Curtis Blow and all that type of shit. So that's what I saw myself as until I got down south. I was in a group, then it was like, oh, all right, I could do this group thing. But when I came back to New York, I was with Butcher had put me with a dude I went to high school with in Newtown High School named Godfrey, who was a nice MC. It was so many dudes that's nice that like people have never heard except, you know, it's like anything, you know, that great basketball player that nobody knew except people around them, you know. So Godfrey was an ill dude. I rhymed with him. We had a little group thing, but I was solo, man. I was really solo. Even when the whole Beatnuts thing came about, we were doing my a fucking, you know, a demo tape for me as a solo artist.
Right. Did that materialize into anything earlier on before the Beatnuts?
Oh no, so I had already had like a little off. I was working with this dude named D'Anthony, who was like, you know, kind of a arm or branch of the flavor. You know, like he had connections with all of them, so he had got me to like some dude that was at Big Beat. There used to be like a little indie type of label in New York back in the day. And it was like, you know, some talking, and I took that to Jew, like, yo, I might get like 50,000. You know what I'm saying? And Jew was like, what, 50,000? He was like, yo, forget that, yo. You know what I'm saying? Come on, we're gonna do your demo. I'm gonna get you 250. Like, I'm fucking with Jungle Brothers, Tribe, all of this shit. And you know, I was in love with all of them groups anyway. So I was like, what? Oh yeah, whatever you say, I'm doing. Let's do it. So that's, you know, we started doing that. And then Chris Lighty recruited, you know, Jew and Les to be his production team for Violator. That's what they started out as the production team for Violator. Some things happened. I won't get into the story now, but Chi Ali wound up with songs from my demo. And Les actually brought me to meet Chris Lighty. And Chris just, you know, made everything good. He was like, I didn't know that was your music, but what we're going to do is you're going to come in and write for Chi. You know what I'm saying? And you can perform, do whatever you want, be creative, whatever. So I did that. And I rhymed on a song called Let the Horns Blow with Fife, Drez from Black Sheep, Dove from De La, Chi, and myself. And I think once Relativity, like Alan Grumblatt and them heard that, this is from what I heard from, you know, because I was actually incarcerated when this all went down. But from what I heard from my old manager and the A&R from the label, like they heard that and was like, yo, who's the dude rhyming? Like, we know the other rappers, but who's the other guy? And I think Chris and them was like, yeah, that's the dude, that's Fashion. You know, he's writing for Cheese with the Beatnuts. And they was like, oh, the Beatnuts is like, that's like a group? And we really weren't a group, you know what I'm saying? But they were like, yo, hey, sign that. You know, we'll take them. We got signed to Relativity. You know what I'm saying? You know, off of their crazy production, you know, what they heard me doing. So, you know, they kind of like put us together because we really weren't, you know, a group. They were like producers, you know what I'm saying? That's what their focus was. Now, both of them could rhyme because they even were rhyming on my old demo and all that type of stuff, you know what I'm saying? But they were more looking at it as them being producers behind the scenes, you know, creating all these hits and everything. And then it turned into us as a group, man, because of that Chi Ali project and because of Chris Lighty.
Wow. Is that how you initially met Juju and Psycho Les?
No, I met them because Juju and I went to high school together in Newtown High School, but we were, you know, we didn't really know each other in high school. You know what I'm saying? I knew of him because, you know, his name, you know, he was a dresser. Juju always dressed his ass off, man. Even when we was in high school, he was always Benetton, polo, shit. And like, damn, like this motherfucker walking through like he, you know what I'm saying? Like you dressing like you got a crazy job on Wall Street or something. And we were in high school. And you know, it was known that he, you know, he was into music, you know what I'm saying? And I was into it. So, you know, I had that, you know, he was on my radar, you know, but we didn't know each other. So my second year in high school, my senior year, I think Jew and a guy that was like my family, my man Ronnie Walters, they all went to the school, like a satellite school for like kids that are like kind of BSing in high school. So they all would go to these alternative schools, like, and that's when Jew and Les started doing their beat battle because they weren't the Beatnuts yet. They started like bringing in tapes like, oh, listen to my beats. They had heard about each other, knew about each other. They may have met before then, but that's when they got cool. And like I said, my quote unquote cousin was in there with them, and he was like, yo, my cousin is nice. He rhymes. He's like, yo, Jew, you know him. You went to school with him. So I remember he brought me to Jew one day. And I remember the rhyme I said to him and all that shit. And I finished the rhyme and he was like, yo, sign that man up. Like, yo, we doing this. Like, you know what I'm saying? And that's when we started messing with each other. And then I had the, you know, the possibility of the big beat thing. And he was like, nah, we're going to do your demo, your whole joint. We're going to get you a real deal and shit. So that's how everything popped off, man. As far as everyone meeting, you know, and becoming familiar with one another.
Right. Dope. Damn. Didn't know a lot of those jewels you dropping, man.
Now, no, you know, a lot of people don't know our story. You know, a lot of it, you know, of course, you know, we didn't stay together. So, of course, you know, if things like that happen, you know, there has to be behind the scenes and some type of turmoil or some discord or what have you. You feel me? You know, but now, you know, we older, you know what I'm saying? I don't carry no venom for anybody, no problems with anybody. You know what I'm saying? It's like, it's all love. You know what I mean? Because now I look at it like from everybody's viewpoint. When I was young, it was just my viewpoint, like, yo, I'm getting the fuck out of here, you know? And, you know, that's the thing I used to have to deal with. Like, yo, they kicked you out of the group. I'm like, homie, I signed out of the group. Homie. I left the group. Like, you know what I'm saying? I was already going for a deal. I was a soloist before that. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, so... Yes, it's a lot of stories, man. Like, if even what I just told you, if I gave you the X-rated version of it, you'll be like, yo, get the fuck. I skimmed over a lot of shit. I'm just, you know what I mean? Like, glossed over a lot, man. But yeah, it ain't no need to focus on that stuff, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
No doubt. So at what point the fashion and GQ, like, what was that whole concept about?
Oh, so look. Yeah, you know what's so crazy, right? It's GCs. It's GCs. It was the God connection. I just did an interview with this brother, and he showed me like whatever this like rap, Wikipedia, Rapapedia, and it had this crazy like. I was like, yo, first of all, like whoever did this is bugging. It's like no information, then it's misquoting stuff, dates, all types of shit. So the name of my crew was the God Connection. Was the GCs. You know what I'm saying? On the solo album, that was who it was. And what it was just me wanting to, like, at that time, you know, have a crew, man, put a bunch of dudes on. I had met Probs and Black. They were in SOP. You know, I met them through this brother named Sterling Cagle, you know, another connection from the dude Ronnie Walters. And I was like, yo, I want to fuck. We did a song together for their SOP project, and it came out crazy. Everybody was loving that shit. So I was like, yo, y'all gotta come be on my album. Then I had, you know, Narcotics from Devil's Island, you know, Washington Heights, the two, you know, my two little Dominican brothers, Butter and Jeff Valentino. And then I had the two dudes from Westchester, A Massacre and S. Everybody was nice though. Everybody, you know, just a bunch of dope MCs. I wanted to showcase them. You know what I'm saying? You know, I was thinking about building an empire right then at that time, man. Like, you know, all these dudes, showcase them on my album, get them solo deals, and you know what I'm saying?
Gotcha.
That was the whole thought process behind that, man.
So hold on. Just to get this clear, so Fashion and GQ is not the name.
No. No.
By
the time I was doing God Connection, which that website was saying, that's what they were talking about, because they were talking about my you know, my album, my solo album, the God Connection. They called it the GQs, and I'm like, what the fuck is the GQs, man? And by that time, I was no longer going by the name Fashion. I was had already been changed, you know what I'm saying? I was in the process of getting it changed legally, all types of stuff, you know what I'm saying? So I was already out Tariq at that time. I didn't even, and I could only use like the artist formerly known as, and you know, one of the stipulations and a part of my agreement was signing out of the Beatnuts and not being under the you know, the recoup, what we had to recoup. We had to recoup a lot of money. It took us a while to record Street Level, and we spent a lot of fucking money recording that. It was a lot of beer and steak and bitches and all that in the studio. So we had a crazy over budget, and it was like, yo, if you sign out, if you don't want to be, you know, have to, you know, be responsible for what's being paid, and we taking money out of whatever your new deal is, don't use Beatnuts. Don't use none of that shit to promote. Like, don't piggyback off of what Sony and Relativity had done for them. You know what I mean? So that was a part of my name change too. Like, I was like, all right, I can't say Fashion, so that's gonna be stupid. I could say Fashion, but not the Beatnuts, and I can't use it this way or that way. So nah, it wasn't the GQs. It was Al Tariq and the God Connection, the GCs. If anything, I never really called GCs that much. It was always God Connection.
All right, thank you for the clear up, because me and Sincere were trying to figure out Fashion and GQ, but the album cover didn't look like it had anything to do with it.
Who writing this shit up, man? I was like, I wrote. If y'all look now, the dude that I did the joint with, Parker, I gotta remember his last name. My man Parker, he has a podcast and all that shit. I wrote another like
Okay.
a dope one, you know, nice, lengthy, giving you detailed history and all that. And supposedly they reposted that for me. So, you know, hopefully that's out there, man, because that information is definitely false.
Yeah. Don't worry, we're gonna make sure that we do our part with that too.
And listen, I'm gonna send you something, Sincere. I'm gonna send you a copy of the joint, man, because maybe you can help, you know, whatever, getting it out there or getting it in the right hands.
Absolutely.
That's why, you know, Rapapedia or Wikipedia page or whatever it is, you know, whatever the label is.
Absolutely, that's what we're here for.
My man, good looking.
So going back just a little bit, what was the game plan or discussions earlier on going into Intoxicated Demons?
Like I said, we actually were recording my solo stuff. And, you know, it was going to be, you know, we had songs with Jules and myself, but it was going to be, you know, more like, you know, some songs with us and then, but most of it, a bunch of, you know, not a bunch of Third of the Trios. That was like one of the only songs I did. I didn't really have no time to be in there recording. Like, I found out one night we were just starting to record this shit. We had maybe been in there a month or 2 months. And it was like, I got a phone call one night at Les's house, like, yo, don't come home. Don't come back to Peekskill. I'm like, wow. She's like, yeah, the police went to your aunt's house. They went to Sam Dean's house. You got a sealed indictment. They looking for you. I'm like, oh, my fucking God. Because I was in the streets, man. So, you know, I went and just dealt with that, you know, and went away for a year and all that. So I wasn't really there to finish anything, to really even get the juices flowing. Like Third of the Trio, that probably would have never even came out, man. You know what I'm saying? It was just that that's what they had from me there. That's not like songs that I would be like, yo, that was one of my, you know what I mean? I was already having a hard time. Let me just say this to y'all. When I got down and they, you know, I was rhyming with the, you know, with the whole Chi Ali thing and writing the album and being around all the native tongue people, right? I came from a whole different type of style of rapping. You know what I'm saying? Like my cadence, my everything was totally different. Like the rhyme I told Juju, for him to like be like, yeah, sign this man up. Those were his words. Was totally different from anything I did on all of that Beatnut stuff. I felt like I had to change. I felt like I couldn't come in talking about guns and nines and robbing niggas and all that type of shit and be down with native tongue. Like, you know what I'm saying? So all of that shit you hear on the Chi Ali shit and let the home, the criminal, I'm just trying to find a style and trying to do something different. Like, yo, I'm going to be different. All that shit on Third of the Trio or in the, you know what I'm saying? That was me trying to actually find my shit. Like that whole era threw me off, man, because I was trying to fit in with all of that stuff that was going on over there and you know, like not to sound. And then it's the crazy thing is Jew and Les wound up rhyming like that anyway. Talk about killing this show. You know what I'm saying? When I came home and heard Pop the Trunk hit the deck, I'm like, how the fuck is that man with the, you know what I'm saying? But they had already took our own lane, and then it was never declared that we were a part, or the Beatnuts were a part of Native Tongue anyway. You know what I'm saying? Even though, you know, that was like the vibe, and that's who we were around at that time. You know what I mean? Because of some behind the scenes thing, it never was declared, and we were never officially a part of that whole collective. You know what I'm saying?
Right. That project dropped in '93. Did you get locked up midway through that, after the project, or before it even?
I was already in jail. I was in jail from '92. I went to jail in like June of '92.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So when I came home, that project had just dropped. I came home in April 29th of 1993. And it was already out. It had been out for, I don't know, maybe a month. It had been out long enough for Rain of the Tech to already be making noise.
Right.
And the Rain of the Tech was already making noise by the time I came home. You know what I mean? So, yeah, that came out in '93. Yeah, I was locked down when they were doing all that stuff, World Famous and all of that. Yeah.
So how was the transition getting back into the group and starting where you left off to go into next level the next year?
It was weird, man. Like, not to get into, you know, like I said, too much of like the, you know, the darker shit, man. But, you know, we was young dudes, man. Juju and I both egos. We both alphas. You know what I'm saying? You know, Les is not that he's not alpha, but Les is more like, yo, whatever. You know what I'm saying? He just, especially back then, I just want everything to be cool. I ain't beefing. I ain't none of that shit. You know what I'm saying? And you know, it was just a thing with you and I. So it was tough getting back in. You know what I'm saying? You know, like I said, I came around. It's like Vic was there. It's like, yo, who's this? You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? Like that, he's the third of the trio. I thought I was the third of the trio. You know what I'm saying? And then it was like, you know, I guess I was doing stuff too with my ego and shit that, you know, was rubbing Jew, you know what I mean? Like, you know, because me, I'm super ambitious, bro. And I had to learn later on in life that that's not always the best thing. You know what I'm saying? That rubs people, bro. When you come in and it's like, nah, I'm going to be the fucking top motherfucker. I don't give a fuck. I'm going to the, you know what I'm saying? Y'all going to meet. And he, you know, it's like he's feeling like, yo, wait a minute, this is my shit. You know what I'm saying? I'm the one that had to connect. I'm the one that knew the Jungle Brothers and all of this shit. You know what I'm saying? I'm the one that they threw the name, me and Les on the Beatnuts. You know what I'm saying? Who you? You know what I mean? So it was just, you know, a time, and we was young. So it was a tough transition, but we made it work, man. What we did with the music, especially as soon as I came home, we were touring, and then we went right into recording, you know, the self-titled debut joint, the Beatnuts, you know, aka Street Level album. So a lot of that craziness, like if you listen to the album, you can hear shit in the background. You can hear us like saying little slick shit to each other and all of that, and rhymes and everything, bro. It's crazy. I hope they're mad at me saying that, but it's the truth, bro.
Right. Did you find that recording process difficult, or was it fun at the same time?
It was both. As crazy as that may sound, it was definitely both. Because, you know, we had people there, you know, Lucien, I don't know if you guys remember, Tribe made a song. Lucien.
Lucky Lucien, yeah.
Yeah, that's my man, Papa Lou. So Lou was there, which made it crazy. It was like Rick, man, you know. And then the three of us, like when we did create, bro, like we, you know, we got our shit in, man. You know what I'm saying? When we were doing it, but then it would be bullshit. You know what I'm saying? But then it would be fun. You know, it would be chicks. It would be fucking beer, like I said. And my dish was steak and broccoli all the time. You know what I mean? And weed. You know what I'm saying? But it, you know, we had our times. Like it was it after that. You know, we did that. You know, we had, you know, a crazy tour. Only, you know, Les and I went on the tour. Jude didn't accompany us to most of the tour, and after that, it was like, yo, I'm out, bro. I'm doing my shit. You know what I'm saying? I'm doing my shit. I don't remember Juju coming to me like, yo, man, I knew you was gonna go solo anyway. You know that was meant for you to do that shit anyway, bro. You're gonna do your thing by yourself. That's why they recorded the album with me. They you know, they all over God Connection album, bro. So we had, you know, we knew, like, you know what I mean? Me and you, like, we gonna we can't be for too long. We're gonna be like,
you know? No doubt. You talked a little bit about that tour. Who was your favorite tour lineup and tour memory during those times?
Tour memories is like ridiculous, and most of it is stories. I don't run a you know, I'm a dad and all that shit. I don't even want to tell y'all something. I can tell y'all low, just us, bug y'all out like, get the fuck out of here. But we did a tour called the Best of the Underground tour, and it was Beatnuts, Artifacts, Organized, and Common. And we did cities. We did a crazy college run. We tour bussed all across the U.S. That's why when you listen to the song, I did the song Think Not. If you listen to Think Not, I'm talking about the whole tour. Everything that we did, Common and all of the, you know, everything, traveling from the East Coast and then going across the South and Southeast, Southwest, Cali, across the Midwest. Yeah, so that, I mean, I've done a lot of touring. I don't want to, like, you know, act like I didn't have a, you know, crazy amount of fun on all of the other tours I've done all over Europe and Asia and all that other shit, Canada. But that tour, that was like my first big thing. We were in tour vans. We didn't even have a bus. You know what I'm saying? It was times that, you know, it was tough too. It was times that we would sleep in the vans, bro. You know what I'm saying? But just that camaraderie, man. Being with all those dudes, around all those dudes, it was real dope. And to see, you know, like what Pharaoh and, you know, what Rashid, what Common did, you know, after all of that stuff, and to see everybody blossom, it was real dope, man. Real dope.
Very dope.
Do you feel like, you know, you've been mentioning a lot of, you know, great names, Jungle Brothers, Common, on and on and on. At this point in time, where do you feel Al Tariq fits in within all of those greats?
I'm a little footnote to a lot of dudes, man. Like I've been around, like I told you, you know what I'm saying? I went to school with Jay. I was with LL, but when all of this stuff that y'all see was what he talked about before it was anything. You know what I'm saying? Around Ye, when Ye was young, you know what I'm saying? I was just talking to Gravity from Chicago, you know, about the first song that Ye did with any type of famous rappers or any rappers in notoriety was myself and with Gravity. You know what I'm saying? That song actually made his mother say, yo, you can go ahead and do music, and not give him his year notice. Yeah, you know, if you check out Gravity's page, he has all the receipts, the check stubs, the airline flights, and all of that. So I would be a footnote with all of these dudes, but I'm gonna tell you, man, I really, you know, I never really focused on my career the way I should have, man. I was making kids. You know what I'm saying? I have 9 beautiful daughters and, you know, 5 incredible sons. I was doing so much. I was in the streets. You know what I'm saying? You know, like I had really the stuff that I dreamed about for my career, like having some fame, being where, you know, all of that stuff, I got it. The girls, I got it. I never really focused on money. I never thought about my business. And, you know, now I look back at it like, damn, you know, I blew a lot of shit, you know what I'm saying? Luckily, I did enough where I have, you know, some type of a fan base where I can still do things in the music, you know, in the business and all of that shit. But, you know, for years, that used to drive me. It used to drive me like, yo, you know, I know all of these motherfuckers I was around. I'm as ill as all of y'all. It's creative. And it used to be like, nah, I'm going to get back. And then it was like, nah, my bro, you did your thing. You did what you had to do. You were where you had to be at, man. You know, you had to be responsible. You had other things that you had to do. You made some beds that you had to go sleep in. You know what I mean? So, you know, I love it, you know, when I get the love from people. You know, I love that I've done enough stuff, you know, 6, 7 different albums and projects, 8 probably with all the Honda shit, 9 with all of the Honda projects, you know, solo stuff, Missing Link stuff, Big City, Beatnuts, you know, and just collaborations with people all over the world. You know what I'm saying? You know, I'm proud of it. You know, I'm happy with it. I'm happy with it. You know what I'm saying? My kids look and they see and they still discover, oh, Dad, I didn't know you did a song with this person. And my daughter just, you know, saw the stuff we did, you know, Missing Links and Prodigy, you know what I'm saying? Before he passed, we did way before he passed, but we did something that never really got out like that. We got a crazy song called Family Ties, man. Thanks to Dante Ross, he put that together. Alchemist produced it. You know, it's a bunch of stuff like that. Songs with nonfiction and, you know what I mean? So it's like, I'm good with it. You know, as long as I'm able to do what I'm about to do right now and get this stuff out of me that I've had in me, this music and all that type of stuff, I'm cool, man. So where I stand with them or where I might fit in the pantheon or even am I around these dudes, that's up for other people to say. You know what I'm saying? But, you know, I was around them. I touched them. We talked. We had some type of, you know what I mean, interaction. So it was good for me. Hopefully it was good for them.
No doubt. Well, I know we're going to get into this in a little bit about what you're doing now currently, but, you know, hopefully you will continue to do these type of things and these type of platforms because people need to know if they didn't know.
Right. Yeah,
you know
yeah. Definitely.
We didn't touch on your God Connections album. You said you had to sign out of the Beatnuts. Is that correct?
Yeah.
And then
I definitely had to sign paperwork.
How did you find yourself over at Correct Records?
Well, actually, I was gonna stay at Sony, right? Because at that time, Relativity had been purchased by Sony, and they were really taking over. I don't even know if Alan and them were there at the time, as far as like, you know, because I remember another guy was like the man running shit. So I remember submitting to them what was gonna be some songs on my solo album. And their reply to my manager at the time was, yeah, we're not going to put out 2 Beatnut albums. You know, they felt like, you know, my album would just be an extension of their stuff, or, you know what I mean, whatever it was. So we didn't shop for long. As soon as, you know, I was like, all right, I'm on the open market, a deal came quick. You know what I mean? You know, the correct deal came, you know, pretty quick. It came pretty quick. So I don't recall, I couldn't tell you like the intimate details, how Peter Kane got into, who got in touch with who. All I know was like, yo, this label wants to fly out to LA, they got money, you're gonna be the first. And it was like, yeah, let's get it. I know Manish was on the label before I was, but it was like, you know, they were looking at me like, yo, you coming off all this Beatnut stuff, you have a lot, you know, you've been out there. So it was a big deal for them. It was a big deal for me too, definitely.
Right. Did you find it more difficult as a solo artist? Because when artists are in groups, you know, everybody's kind of taken up, you know, you don't have to write as much. Did you find it difficult?
Nah, bro, I was so like, listen, I'm gonna tell you, man, tell people this, like, I did that album in like, and I know this may seem like, yo, that might be a long time. But I did it for like in like 5 months. And coming from like the school of dudes I came from, it was like, yo, take your time doing the album. Like we took a year and some change to do Street Level. You know what I'm saying? Just going in, recording mad songs, you know, are we gonna use this? You know, nah, we ain't gonna use that or whatever. So I didn't even have that process. It was like, yo, whatever I recorded was the album. You know what I'm saying? And it was nothing. I was so thirsty to get all of this shit out of me, off of my chest. You know, I just came from this whole group thing and all of the term, you know what I mean? It was like, ooh, I could say whatever I want to say and do what I want to do. You could definitely see, because of the production, a lot of it being done by Les and Vic, you know, a lot of people will say like it's a Beatnut type of album. You know what I'm saying? But a lot of the beats I picked, I don't think we would have picked as the Beatnuts group on my joint. And, you know, my everything, you know, I'm talking different subject matter, different rhyme schematic, you know, just different everything, my cadences, all of this stuff. You know what I mean? It was freeing to me, bro. So difficult, not at all. It was awesome, bro. So freeing.
Later on, you found yourself into the group thing again. Were you reluctant getting into Missing Links?
Not at all.
How did you meet Problems in Black Attack?
Yeah, that's what I was saying earlier. A cat named Sterling Cagle from Roosevelt Island. I knew him, and he was messing with SOP. So Black and Probs was in the group Smoked Out Productions. I don't know if you guys are familiar, if you ever heard any of their stuff, but they were like, you know, they were ill. They were ill, you know what I mean? I respected them as a crew, especially with Probs and Black in it. So we did a song for their project together, and that's what got us together. And that was in like 94. I was still doing Beatnut stuff, you know what I'm saying, 95 or something like that when that happened. So when it was time to do my solo joint, it was like, oh yeah, y'all come in. Everybody else, you know, my little dudes I had and all that, me and Butter from Narcotics were like in the streets together in Westchester. So, you know what I mean? Yeah, that's kind of how that got put together, man.
No doubt. On that project, I believe Dr. Dre sampled the song after you guys. What are your thoughts when you hear that song after the way you guys used it?
Oh, that's right. We talking about fucking Missing Links. I'm bringing it back to God Connection. No, I already, you know, Probs and Black from from Missing, you know, from us being in the God Connection. We did the Missing in Action joint. And I remember us going to California. We were on the Baker Boys show, and they were telling us that they played the song and that they said, you know, they said, I know what they said. They said Dre. They was like, yo, the big. I was like, word. We was like, what? It's like, yo, the nigga called up like, yo, what is that? What song is that right there? They told him, yo, that's Fashion, like from the Beatnuts. He's got a group Missing Links. Oh yeah, clack. And then, there's actually a documentary. I don't know if you guys are aware of this brother. He passed away now. Rest in power. My man Mark B. From he's a DJ and producer from England, and he did a documentary on people get, artists getting jacked by bigger artists for their music. And the whole, the focal point of it was our song, was, Dre taking the fucking Missing in Action and doing next episode with that joint. Is that what you asked me, yo?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. So
yeah, I had interviewed Black Attack a while ago, and he was basically saying the same thing.
Oh yeah, so Black remembers that. Yeah, bro. Yeah, crazy. And the crazy thing is the dudes because the Mighty VIC, Vic did that joint. And I remember we did it first in Mark Ronson's crib. This is how crazy shit is. We in Mark Ronson's crib doing that song. You know what I'm saying? And I remember Vic telling me, like, you know what I mean? Afterwards, that, how he had to buy the record and who he bought it from and all of that. And then what happened was the dude was not supposed to have no more copies or wasn't supposed to sell it or something. And I think Dre and them just offered him like a stack. And because it was Dre too, you know what I'm saying? He got it, told them what it was, and sold them the joint and all of that shit. It's like a whole story behind that too, man. Like you could see it in the documentary. It's crazy. The way the whole shit went down. It's like, damn, this is some covert action and shit. Like trying to get this beat, man. I felt honored by it though. I gotta keep it 100, man. I remember a lot of people in my camp and shit was like, nah, yo, that's fucked up, man. Nigga, fucking beat, yo. I was like, yo, he knows who we are right now. You know what I'm saying? He's on his radar. You know what I mean? I took it as, a little badge of honor, man. Me, myself. Right. For real.
Later on the same year, you found yourself over at Psycho and Logical Records. You put out a single. Was that supposed to materialize to a whole album?
Nah, see, what happened, Psychological was some of Les's stuff. You know what I'm saying? So what we did, we were about to do this thing called Pit Fight Records. We had a bunch of artists together. Some of the stuff got leaked, but I was never signed to anything like that. The next did where I was signed to was Nature Sounds. When I did Big City, I had the group Big City with Les from Beatnuts and Probs from Missing Links. You know what I'm saying? And that project was like, Missing Links project, the album never even really physically came out. No videos done to it, no single besides Missing in Action, which was done by Fat Beats. We never released anything off of that. And the same thing happened with the Big City album. Nothing ever came out. One song that we did off of it called Cheddar was put in 2 movies. It was in Role Models with Paul Rudd and the guy that plays Stifler in the American Pie series and all that. They have this movie called Role Models, did pretty good. Then there's a movie with John Leguizamo called The Babysitters.
Yeah.
So the song made it to those 2 movies, man. But neither one of those songs ever really got a commercial. Those albums ever really got commercial releases, man. So it went from Relativity, Sony, to Correct, to Fat Beats, to Stimulated with Dante Ross. These are the labels, and it's all documented in the new bio, or my new bio. Stimulated with Dante, and then Nature Sounds. And then in between there, I had my own stuff, Links Inc. and Imp Records, Empire, and all of that stuff. But and a Big City label myself too. But Psychological, no. And the singles and the stuff that they're talking about is stuff that, Psycho Les and I were doing that stuff never really came out either.
Right.
Now, I just want to ask you, so you earlier you said you pretty much always considered yourself a solo artist, but you always found yourself in some type of a group. So, one, how would that come about? And 2, did you have a preference? Was there a preference for you whether to be in a group or be a solo artist?
No, I'm gonna tell you, man, the group things always came about because of like with the Missing Link thing, that was a Peter King idea. You know what I'm saying? That was our manager at the time. He was like, yo, why don't y'all do a group together? You know what I'm saying? It was like, oh shit. He was like, yeah, let's put up some money. Let's get some songs done. It's always been just a situation of opportunity, man. Okay. Big City was the same thing with Nature Sounds. You know what I mean? Les and Probs and I were doing some things together and some solo stuff. We were supposed to do a double album, one side of it my album, one side of it his. You know what I'm saying? And release it together. That was going to be on Nature Sounds. I brought Les to meet Devin Horowitz, the president, because he was trying to do some project. And Dev was like, yo, you know, I'm going to pass on the project, but yo, why don't all three of y'all do a group thing together? I'll sign that shit right now. And that's how we did Big City with Psycho Les and, you know, myself and Pro. So it's always just been a situation, opportunity. It comes about. But if I had my druthers, you know what I'm saying? I'd do what I'm doing right now. I mean, you know, my computer, my songs, my pace, the shit I want to do. I don't have to worry about nobody saying, nah, don't sing on the hook or don't say that. Or, you know what I mean? I'd rather do it just like this, man. And then bring people in. Like, I'm going to have a Missing Links joint on the album. You know what I'm saying? I got a joint that VRC did that's crazy. You know what I'm saying? He did a crazy beat for us. You know what I'm saying? So that's going to be on the album. It's going to be, you know, like maybe 1 or 2 joints with me and Les, maybe me, Les, you know, Les and Jew. You know what I'm saying? It's like a little, you know, teaser for what could be a Beatnut Reunion album. You know what I'm saying? Level 2 or whatever. But yeah, to answer the question, like shortest form, I'd rather be Dolo.
Okay.
I'd rather be Dolo, man.
I think that last project, Big City, dropped in 2007. Can you catch us up throughout the years on what you had worked on?
Well, listen, what I worked on was being a fucking dad and a husband, man.
That's what we want to know.
That's what I was really working on, man. Listen, I left tour, even doing that, you know, recording that album, because we recorded that album over like a 2-year period. Or like a 1.5 years from some part late in 2005. We didn't finish it to June of 2007 because I had to come from Peekskill. You know, I had to be on the weekends or when I wasn't working. Probs was working at, you know, Verizon for years. You know, Les was the only one that was free to do whatever, you know, to move how he wanted to move when we were doing that Big City album. So I was already like, once I left tour with the Beatnuts in 2000, we did a European tour and we came back and did like, you know, probably like 20 states or whatever. You know, I went back to Westchester, man, and I was around my kids. You know, I was in the streets at first, and then I had some, you know, I went through some real unfortunate things. I lost one of my brothers, and you know, through street shit. You know, I went through a crazy case and trial. I mean, if you ever get a chance, Google, you know, Operation Big Dog. You know what I'm saying? Westchester County, New York. Crazy, man. You know, where I had to deal with a lot of stuff, you know, like street stuff, like life and death shit. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I was dealing with. And, you know, while doing that, taking care of a family, you know, once all of that shit happened with my brother, you know, I was blue collar, you know, temp agency, you know, got a job, you know, worked my way up from a temp to management, warehouse manager, you know, worked that one job for 10 years. And then I went to another one for 5, 2 privately owned companies. You know what I'm saying? And that's how I took care of my family, man. Paying hella child support, hella motherfucking health insurance, bro. You know, shit was not stable at all, bro. Like, it was really, you know, it was tough, man. It was definitely tough. So I left New York in 2019, relocated to Houston, which is where I am now. And, you know, kind of left the rat race. I started doing things on my own terms, man. You know, I've had a lot of growth over the years on the spiritual side, like serious stuff. I don't know if you guys are familiar with a molecule called DMT. If you're not, if the listeners are not, familiarize yourself, do your research. It's a life changer. It's a fucking game changer, man. You know what I'm saying? It's akin to, you know, psilocybin, you know, it's ayahuasca. Have you guys heard of that?
Okay, I've heard it mentioned. Yeah, I'm not too familiar on it, but
guys, check it out, man. Check it out, man. Just something real dope. So, you know, just went through a lot of growth over these years, man. And I had a lot of dudes like El Sensei from Artifacts used to hit me. Like, yo, what you doing? You know what I'm saying? We out here, people are working and that, you know, people want to hear you. You know what I'm saying? He got me on a couple of things. I did a couple of collaborations with some guys overseas and everything. But, you know, I was was caught up in this whole thing that I was going through with the family, being a husband, raising kids, trying to support everybody. And it's a lot of them, you know what I mean? So it kept pulling me though, kept pulling me. And then once I got here and I got a little bit more freedom and got some some, you know, air to breathe and was making money, and I had my own business, and it's no more the rat race, I was able to, you know, get back into it. You know, like I said, thanks in large part to Vic and then Butcher. You know what I'm saying? Really being there, telling me what to do, teaching me, telling me what to get, you know, what systems and this, you know. I never thought I'd be in my own crib recording with a mic stand, on Logic, on the computer. You know what I'm saying? That's why I didn't know what the hell to do with the computer, because I for the music. That's it. You know what I'm saying? For real. But yeah, that's what I've been doing, man. Living, man. So it's like I got a lot to say in the music. It's a lot I want to talk about. Many facets of me that I'm in touch with now, and I could be honest, you know, about. You know. So that, you know, that's really what you're gonna get out of me. I know I posted something like a couple of days ago, and I had a lot of people saying like, "Yo, I want to hear songs just like on the God Connection album, just like on this," and I'm like, it might not be just like that. You'll definitely hear me, you know what I'm saying? But you know, all of it is not gonna be just, you know, shoot 'em up and fuck, drink beer, smoke some shit, and, you know, lick the pussy. Is definitely definitely not.
Yeah, there's something about us that came up in a certain generation, man, throughout the 80s and 90s, that even though we grow, we still want to hear that old stuff from our artists, man. I don't know what it is about that. It's like
no, but you know what it is, King? We came up in that era, like they call that the golden era, that mid-late 80s, mid-late, you know what I mean, or early mid-90s, man. You know what I'm saying? It's like just how things were. Like I tell my kids all the time, it's so nuts to see like everybody sounding the same. When that was like a thing, you could, like, you had to be different and have a different swag, or you know what I mean? It was just so incredible, man, just to hear new artists. You know what I mean? To hear these new rhyme schemes and styles and flows, you know what I'm saying? And it's like you don't get that no more. So it's like we yearn for that shit, that nostalgia. It's like I want that time when shit was just all, you know, like when you lived with an album. My kids be telling me something's old right now, and that should be like a month old. Like, yeah, Dad, that song is old already. The album's old. I'm like, it's old. It came out last month. Like, yo, we would have been saying last year for it to be old. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just different. I know what it is. Listen, I'm definitely gonna give you that. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, Les is producing stuff. I got, you know, Rose and Cook producing. These my homies from New York, you know, who are them boom bap era dudes, SK and my man Dig Dug. They got a crew called Stay Tuned. They got production for me. Jay Swift, DJ Static. Yeah, I'm gonna give them that shit, man. But it's a lot of growth in it, man. It's just definitely.
No doubt.
I want the fans to allow me. Allow me this, man. Allow me this. Allow me to be a little different, man. You know what I mean? You want me to grow. Allow me to give y'all this and open. You know, I'm gonna be posting about it. Open yourself up to it. It's gonna be a little different, man. It's definitely gonna be a little more melodic. Some of it, you know what I'm saying? Because I was singing in groups before I was rhyming in groups. You know what I'm saying? Like when I told y'all about my man Forrest and them, the main thing we used to do, me, Forrest, and Ant, was sing. You know what I'm saying? We would write our own songs, you know, be singing the girls, and you know that was the way to.
Right. What were you guys like when you talking about the singing? Was that like a new edition type thing? Like what type?
Yeah. Like my cousin Ed could sing his ass off though. Like he was the lead. He could sing his ass off. We would harmonize behind them, whole tunes, have our little parts and all that type of stuff. You know, talent shows and all that shit, man. School events, you know, whatever. We would do that. We wouldn't even, you know, the rhyming part would be like maybe throw a little verse in something while we're singing. I would break off and rhyme something and come back to harmonizing and all that stuff.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
You were like the Ron DeVoe then.
I'll take that. I'll take that. Yeah, exactly.
So talk to us a little bit about the Godly introducing the Royales.
So, so the Royals, right? So I've always had this vision of, you know, of having my kids out doing stuff. Like I have some talented ass children. And of course, everybody, you know, we all say our kids are talented and they're the best and they're the smartest, but I'm like real with it. Like I have a couple of my kids that are not that talented. You know what I'm saying? And they get a little upset with me sometimes because I don't go all crazy about this shit. But it's like it's what it is, man. You know, or maybe they ain't even that they're talented. Maybe it's just that, you know, whatever sonically or whatever, it doesn't, I don't with it. You know what I mean? So I'm just real with that. I'm not one of these parents that are going to take my kid on American Idol knowing that they suck and watch them get. You know what I'm saying? I would never let any of my kids come out or be on any music or anything and they suck. And it's like, because it's my daughter and I'm saying she could sing. Nah, I'm not going to do that shit. So, you know, I have two daughters. My nephew, who I, you know, kind of grew up like my son almost. He calls my kids his siblings. You know what I'm saying? He's like my sixth son, if you want to be honest about it. And then my son, Brandon. So all talented, you know, singing, rapping, writing their own stuff. You know what I mean? And I'm going to continue what I was doing with the God Connection. But like I said, it's just growth. It's just, you know, that next level of that, you know, of what I was doing. Because I was already getting into it. Like I said, if you listen to it, it's not really a beat nut. You know what I'm saying? You can hear the difference in it. If you just don't come into it with the preconceived notion, like, yeah, this is just going to be another beat nut joint. They produced it or whatever. It was a different direction. It was different stuff, different types of hooks and all that shit. You know what I'm saying? And it's just more growth with that, with the godly. You know what I mean? Crazy production. Like I'm loving the stuff that I'm doing, which is a good thing. I promised myself I would never write or do a song just because somebody else said the beat was hot. Like I tell the producers when they do stuff for me, like, yo, listen, I know you know this. I'm different, man. If I don't hear immediately like a song to it, like I can already hear a hook, a cadence for the rhyme, and you know something. If I don't hear it and start seeing visuals, I won't do it. It could be dope as hell, man. But if it doesn't hit, and that's one thing I used to do, something I would do in groups. You know what I'm saying? Do stuff just because. Like Props over here, bro. I had hell with that song for years, for decades, man. For at least 2. Because it was like, yo, I hated that song, bro. I never wanted that. Like, to me, that's the album. It was nothing that we would do. If you listen to it sonically like that, there's nothing else like that on the album. Even if you want to try to put a couple of songs like, no, but I think this one, and I'm like, nah, man, that song, even our whole rhyme scheme, everything, man. You know what I'm saying? It was actually a different song anyway. Like that version y'all hear is like the second or third version of that song, man. Because Relativity needed a single. They needed us to do like, yo, we need a radio song. I'm like, yo, hit me with that as radio. You crazy?
Those who may want to know, what is the status of the Beatnuts reunion?
I mean, I don't know, man. You know, like I posted something, you know, for everybody to mess with Juju a little bit. You know what I mean? Tell them to come and do this. You know, Les and I are working. Like I said, Les just hit me in the last couple of months with a bunch of beats. I've probably done or started about like 4 or 5 different songs. I got one joint that's finished with my nephew on it that I love. And, you know, we have some people that, you know, reached out to me about doing stuff. So it's in the air, man. You know what I mean? It's definitely in the air. I don't have any, I couldn't give you, I would be lying if I tried to tell you what direction it was going in or where it was going to land. But it's definitely in the air. And, you know, if we get enough positive vibes going for it and the money situations are right, you know what I mean? Which, you know, the numbers that I'm hearing, it's like, yo, I'm with it. You know what I mean? It's like, you know, people ain't really getting dollars like that nowadays to do it. And I understand why they want to give it to be a reunion album. But all I can say right now is just in the air, man. Let's everybody have some good vibes on it and push it out there. Push it with the mental. Push it with the mental. Let's get it going.
For sure.
Absolutely. I want to thank you for everything you've done for the culture, everything that you continue to do. Before we get out here, my man, Uncle E's got one last question for you.
Yes, sir.
So, Tariq, man, we're about to hit 50 years of this thing that we call hip-hop. what's your take and thoughts on hip hop about to become 50 years, man? How do you feel about it?
King, you know, coming from the time that we came from, right? When this shit used to be ridiculed, it was like, you know what I mean, get it out of here. And for it to be probably the biggest genre in music. I don't know if it's overtaken country, but I'm pretty sure it's damn near because it's crossed over in the country. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
We, you know, it's a part of not our culture anymore. It's the American culture.
Mm.
You know, if you want to be honest about it, it's
Right.
borrowed in everything. If not the rhyming, the whole swag of it, the beats. I'm talking about commercials that have nothing to do with hip hop, things that have nothing to do with any urban areas. You understand what I'm saying? You know, have hip hop, you know, influence, man. So just to see how far it's come, man, and to know that, you know, I was loving this shit, you know, at a real young age, man. And was living in the birthplace of it, you know, around it, and that feeling of, you know, all the stuff it's an incredible thing to be a part of it, bro. You guys are a part of it too. You know what I'm saying? Y'all know that. It's just incredible to be a part of, man. You know, and I can't see it going anywhere. You know, I hope we can change the direction. I definitely want to put that out there because it has become something that's like used to our detriment, really. You know what I mean? Like we really are not using it for what it started out for. It used to be for a message from you know, from our hoods. You know what I'm saying? A message from, you know, the people that didn't have a voice. You know what I'm saying? And now that we have the voice, the material that we're putting out, and I don't want to knock anybody, man. You know, I'm not going to tell anybody how to get their money or what to do to take care of their families but at some point in time, man, we got to realize the harm that we're doing. You know what I'm saying? We got to realize the harm. That's another reason I said my music may not sound the way it did, you know, when I put out my last stuff, because I have to be responsible with it. Right. You know what I'm saying? I had not only for my family and for my like grandkids and all that type of stuff, but for yours, you know what I mean? Other people that look like me, you know, people that are influenced by this music, some kid that might hear it and, you know, my words, you know, I'm going to tell you something real quick, man, a little anecdote. I remember a guy writing me on Instagram. And once I got on social media, because I wasn't on it, I wasn't really into it, you know what I'm saying? But once I got on it, it was like it enlightened me crazy, man. I remember a dude saying, yo, he was like, yo, I remember when I first heard you rhyme, I first heard your songs, and he said, yo, you don't even know, me and my homeboys, we rock our beards the way we rock our beards because you did, bro. You know what I'm saying? And to have that type of influence, that's power, man. That's like real, you know, excuse me, that's real power, bro. And we wield that shit, man. And it's like a lot of us don't realize what we do with it, man. You know what I mean? And to see, you know, where we are in society, everybody, I'm talking white, black, everybody, you know what I'm saying? One people, where we are, we could be using this thing for something much better, man. You know what I'm saying? I definitely have like some songs on my shit that are not, you know, I'm not preaching and, you know what I'm saying? But I'm saying some shit that needs to be said though. You know what I'm saying? Definitely, man.
Very dope.
But definitely proud to be a part of this shit, man. It's an incredible thing, man. Nobody thought it would be where it is today. I know that.
Nah, not at all, not at all. So before we get out of here, you just mentioned social media. Can you let everybody know where they can find Tariq and keep up with everything you're doing?
Well, look, the main thing to do, I do is IG. You know what I'm saying? When I connect all of my stuff, my IG and all this other stuff, my wife and kids tell me I need to get, I'll have that on, the links on my IG page. But the IG, you got it right there. Tariq is Kool, Fash is Tony Smalls. You know, my mama named me that. You know what I mean? That's where the Small Royals come from. But yeah, that's what it is. Get at me. I'm just started posting this week. Every week I'm post something, some pictures or what have you, and some, snippets of music that, everybody can expect to hear. Some of it might make the album, some of it will. But check me out, man. Check me out. We here. Y'all gonna definitely love the Royals though. My son and them are crazy, man. I can't wait for everybody to hear them crazy.
Sounds good, man. Sounds good. Once again, like Sincere said earlier, we appreciate you. Thank you for taking the time to join us. On
Thank
behalf
you
of
so
Changing
much,
Up the
Kings. Yo, let me
Hip-Hop-
shout real quick. Bunny Smalls, Luch Murray, Aja Lee, Scrap Row. We in here, man. Y'all know what's gonna happen. Y'all know what's gonna happen. Thank y'all for having us. Thank y'all so much. I appreciate the love. I appreciate y'all, man.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you so
Yes,
much.
sir. Listen, man, keep doing what you're doing, man. All right. You got your
Yes,
fans
sir.
out here. We're expecting some good music from you.
I got y'all.
And also thank you for the music you have provided us already.
My man, thank you so much, bro. Sincere, thank you for reaching out, man. All right, y'all brothers, man. Peace, man. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.